Okay, welcome back. In this tutorial, we are going to maybe make some intro. Okay, basically is the pose the character will perform at the beginning of the match. So I will comment this Excalibur's special effect out, because this special effect only can cover one frame. So I will cancel it out and save, and let's try to make a intro. Okay. Maybe change the transparency a little bit. So let's go back to system. Okay. Let's check the 5900 and let's check the last two blocks of code. So you check those change states. You see this change states when the round number is 1, and means the first round. Then you go to the state number called 190. Okay, so the 190 is a pre-intro state. But I don't think this is a good idea, because round number is 1 means if you are having two players against each other, then you say the first round is round number 1. But if you are using a turn match, for example, at round number 2, you just join the fight, and you want to do the intro anyway, then you say round exist is 0. That means it's the first round that your player is playing. Even on round number 2, he or she just joined the fight. So Saber will do the intro anyway. And then the last one is for safe back. For example, if it's not the first round Saber is entering, she will go directly to state 0, which is the standing. Okay, so after that we are checking whether this state 190 exists or not. Clearly it's not exist yet. It will load the comma1.cns. So we go to comma1 and cns and copy this state 190. So we will paste it accordingly. I will put it here. So this state 190 is doing some kind of guidance. Okay, it's like I check whether my enemy is who, then I do what, some kind of thing. But I do not want a special intro yet. I just want a normal intro. So I go and check whether I have this I already created this intro animation. Yes, I already did it. So the number is 191. Okay. It's called intro 1. It looks like this. So maybe I do not check the enemy exists, because whether you want to check enemy exists is because the template one is for any character. Okay. Now I'm just programming my Saber, so I know this animation exists. So I will say at time is 0. It's directly go to 191. Okay. 191 is the first intro. And we can go to Mugen document. And check the state controller reference and the trigger lists. And inside this 190, we can also do another thing, is a victory quote. Okay. Basically, at the start of the match, you can already decide which victory quote you want. Or you can put into the 180 Okay, but our demo here I put into 190. Maybe you should put into 180. It's up to you. So I will say victory code and select our victory code, and the value will be either 1 or 2. So I will have 7 victory codes in the constant file, and have 7 Japanese victory codes from constant file. And I want to pick anyone. So I will say 1 plus random modular 2. Okay, I will explain modular later. But now I will say this, and the victory quote is being picked. The result will either be 1 or 2. And then the second block is I changed my state to 191, and the 191 is the real intro states. Basically, we will play this animation, I should say. So you see the type is standing, the control is 0, and the animation is 191, and the velocity is speed is 0. So here is saying freeze the animation until pre-into is over. So basically the run state, when the run state is 0, which is initialization state, and it will always play this 191. For example, the run state never goes to 1 and stays 0, so the animation will be stuck at the start of 190. Okay, so this what is the meaning? It's phrased actually. I want to change it from 0 to 1. Basically, if the round state never goes to 1, it will be stuck at the very beginning of the anime 191. If the round state goes to 1, then it will start to play and will not revert back. So the second block of code is a statement, says this is the intro. Okay, so the trigger is always, as long as you are inside the 191, and it will set the flag, this is the intro. Then the next one, changes state, is saying if the animation is 191 and the anime time is 0, and time is 0 means the last frame of anime 191 means it's finished playing this animation. Then it goes to state 0. Basically, after the anime played and it's finished, let's goes to 0. Okay, now I have to bring up this logic operation or logic arithmetic. So the main thing is called AND OR. And in Mugen or C is written in this, and OR in Mugen or C is written in this. Okay. So you see this one is AND, you see this one is OR. So AND is like both A and B need to be true. For example, both A and B have something, then something happens. So basically you are saying both A and B is true, then something happens. So if A have something but B have nothing, and nothing happens. Both A and B need to have something, then something happens. Then obviously, if either A or B is one of them have nothing, which is false, then nothing happens. So for OR is A or B, anyone have something, then something happens. So A have something and B have nothing. The outcome will be something happens. Unless A and B both have nothing, then nothing happens. Something like that. And this also can be used in not just 2 but 3 or 4, doesn't matter. For example, you have trigger 1, have one criteria, another criteria, another criteria, another criteria. So when you see this kind of operation, all the elements need to be true, which is a non-zero value. Okay, then something happens. If in this kind of expression, one of them is 0, then nothing happens. Okay, and this is it. Or something like this. So this 1010 means criteria. For example, you want to check whether the player is flying in the sky or not on the ground. You say yes. Whether this player is attacking, you say yes. Whether this player is got a hit or the attack is being blocked, it's not being blocked, so it returns 0. It's something like that. So in this kind of situation, because it is all means any of them have something which is non-zero value. 1 is having something. Okay, and this is the basic of and or operation. And it also can have these braces. Okay, how to say this? Parenthesis, maybe. I don't know. For example, you have this operation inside this parenthesis. Then you check with another one. For example, 1 or something. So you first calculate this part first. This part, both sides need to be have something happen. Then because one of them is 0, then nothing happens. Then take this sign and check this part and check part. Anyone is 1, then something happens. Then the final result will be anyone have something, then something happens. It's like that. And for Mugen, you may have this kind of trigger 1. You say trigger 1 is nothing happens. You say trigger 2, something happens. Okay. So the execution procedure will be check trigger 1 if it can be executed or not. Is it triggered? No, it's not triggered because it's a 0. Then go to trigger 2. It says hey, something is there, not a 0 value, so trigger 2 will be triggered. That means the whole block will be triggered. Or you can have 2 lines of trigger 1. Okay. If the 2 lines of trigger 1 is equals to say this. Okay. Oh no, sorry, it's equals to say this. Both line of trigger 1 is AND operation. Basically, they all need to satisfy something, then it can be triggered. So in this example, the first line is not satisfied or not being triggered, then the next line will be ignored, okay, because it's already not satisfied. And it will go to trigger 2 to check. Oh, trigger 2 is 1, then execute. Or you can have something like trigger or. You say if trigger or it cannot be triggered and trigger or fail the check, then all the trigger 1 and trigger 2 will not be checked. It will be directly skipped. If trigger or is 1, then it will go to check. Trigger 1, okay, cannot be triggered, then check. Trigger 2, it can be triggered, so the final result is triggered. Or you have trigger or the next line is not triggered because all the trigger 1 and the trigger 2 need to satisfy this trigger or. So if the second line is not triggered, and this line will not be checked, so the final result is not triggered. Okay, something like that. And this is what you need to know about this logic operation. And this remaining part is only for Kung Fu Man. See, the Kung Fu Man will hit the wooden plank, and because Saber doesn't have to hit anything, so we just delete it. And for these sound parts, this sound is for Kung Fu Man's effect, so we will comment it out and rate our own sound. And you click this sound button and then use the first button to add your own sound and assign a group number and an index number to it. Since I already done, I added all the voice to group 4, so I found that this intro voice is here. So we have 3 intro voice. Okay, the number is 4 2000, 4 2001, and 4 2002. So we will try to play the sound. So we will use this play sound controller, and we can also search the document for play sound. So the play sound have this kind of parameters. So we will write our own. So let's say state 191 and voice, and this is sound voice. And trigger is we are going to trigger the sound based on the animation. And we are going to say play sound type is play sound. Sorry, trigger 1 is anime equals 191, and the trigger 1 I trigger using based on the frame of anime 191. So I will show you. So I say anime element time, and this means I am going to trigger the sound based on the frame of anime. So you see it's 3rd, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. You can trace. You can say maybe you want trigger the sound at anime element 5, okay, the 5th frame of this element. So you say 5 equals to 1 or 0. Okay, 0 is the first tick of element 5. Okay, the 5th frame and the first tick. Every frame can last can last any tick you want, and the value will be 4, 2,000. And then you see other optional parameters like a volume scale, and the volume scale basically is the volume. 100 is the maximum, and this channel is also important. So I suggest all the voice channel is using 0. Okay, so channel is like a pipe, and you put your voice into this channel, and one channel can only play one voice at a time. For example, you are saying something very cool and you are posing, doing an intro, and somebody hit you and you will say, ah! Yeah, you will scream, right? So you have to play the scream at channel 0, and the posing or the intro voice will be stopped. So in this way, it will not like you are saying something cool and at the same time you are saying, ah, I'm being hit. So so this is the meaning for channel. Basically, you can stop one voice and start to play another. You will not play the two voices simultaneously. And the next one will be pan. So the pan is to control whether the sound coming from the left or from the right. And there is another parameter called the ABS pan, which is absolute pan. And if you say this absolute pan equals to 0, means this voice will be always heard from the center. It will not based on the character's position. And of course, I will comment this out because we still want being heard the sound based on the character's position. So the P1 will be slightly from the left and the P2 will be slightly from the right. And now we refresh the game. Now we already saw the thing already been done. The intro already been done. Let's refresh again. I delay the sound.
Round 1, fight.
And you see, this is almost done. Maybe you want something more. For example, you want to randomly pick these 3 sentences, but now we are only pick the first one. So I will use another trick, just like this one, to do it. For example, I say it's 2000 plus random mod 3. Okay. So another thing I need to bring back your math is something called the modular arithmetic or operation. So modular can be written in full name is called modular or mod, or this percent sign in Mugen. So basically this modular is taking the remainder. For example, 17 divided by 3 equals, let's see, 17 divided by 3 is this number, okay, 5.666666. But now we are not going to get this result, but we want 17 mod 3. Basically 17 mod 3 is 17 divided by 3 and taking the remainder, and the remainder is like you use this number and multiply by 3 and you got 15. Then you use 17 to subtract it, and the remainder is 2. So you can say 17 mod by 3 is 2. And this is the basics of modular. But knowing this is not enough, and modular have a very important property, especially in programming, I believe. I'm not a professional programmer, but I saw this is a very important, very useful property. For example, you take any number, and mod it by a number, for example 5, and the outcome will be 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. It will not have any 5 in it. It will be 5 number including 0 up to 4. So you take any number mod by, for example, 9, it will have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5, 6, 8, 7, 8. Will not have 9, but there will be 9 number in it. So we can use this property in our program. For example, I say random. I take a random number and I need two outcome, true or false. It's very easy. We can mod this random number by 2. The outcome will be either 0 or 1. If we mod this random number by 3, the outcome will be have 3 numbers. So 0, 1, 2 without 3. And this is the property of modular. So here 2000 plus random modular 3 is you can get 2000, 2001 and 2002, the 3 numbers. And let's refresh and try it.
Round 1.
And
Fight.
it's working. And now we have another small problem is the 2 sides speak simultaneously. But if you check the original game, you will find that it's always one side speak first, then another side follows. So if you want to achieve this kind of effects, my method is I will have a variable, and this variable will act like a switch. If it switch to 1, that means I speak first. Then if another side saw this switch is on, then it will keep his or her mouth shut until I turn off this switch, then the other side can speak up. So you see here, I will copy some code from my previous character Shiba Yuki. So from this code, it says say first if P1. That means if at time is 0, means the first tick of this intro, and she will set up a switch at a variable 19. And after that, for example, when the time is greater than this amount, for example 160, and she will signal I'm finished, you can continue. So here you see something new, that's a single AND sign, and that is a bit operational sign. So I will cover this here. In this example, I used something called a bit operation. So why I use this kind of weird operation? For example, I have a variable var 18. Usually, if you are lazy, you can say var 18 is 0, that means something. Then var 18 is 1 means something. Basically, you are using this var 18 as a switch, right? But for Mugen character, you only have 0 to 59 vars. The variables are limited. Unlike other programming language, you can name whatever your var it is, but in Mugen it's very limited. So then we have a trick to save vars. Okay. So for example, since we only use 2 states, and one state is 0, another state is 1, and you just need to use these 2, and you are using a whole var. It's like a kind of waste. So we can use a var in bit operation. For example, if the number 0 you convert to binary, and here is a binary, is all 0. For example, we can say 1. When this bit is flipped to 1, it means something. If the second bit flipped to 1, it means something. Okay. Or you can say the third bit flipped to 1, it means something, right? And even so, the last bit is flipped to the 5th bit flipped to 1, it means something. So basically, one var you can use it as many switches as this var can support. How long is this var? For example, if we take FF, so we can have 16 switches inside this same var. For example, so how we can utilize this, how we can check one bit is flipped to 1 or not. So basically in Mugen we have this kind of bit operation. We can check whether this var 18 against a number. For example, we want to check the second bit is 1 or not, and the second bit is 2. So when the number is 2, second bit become 1. Now you say, is this thing is a non-zero value? Okay, then if this thing come out is true, then they will have a non-zero value, then it will return true. If not, if the second bit is not 0, and this expression will return 0, then it will not be triggered. For example, you want to check for example, you want to check this bit or this bit. Maybe, can I click? Yes, can. So I can click this bit, and if this bit is 1 and the corresponding decimal value is 128, so if we say var 18 and single ends 128 is non-zero value, that means this bit must be 1. So we can use this kind of thing to use a var as a multiple switches. Okay. So I copied my Miyuki's code and plugged into Saber's 191 state, and I will change the state number to 191, and I will still be using this var 19 as a multiple switch, and I will declare if var 19 and this 32 is not there, then I will set the var 19 plus 32, which means I will set the 6th bit of var 19 to 1. Then after time is greater than 160, then I will set back the var 19 6 bits to 0, which is minus 32. And let's do a refresh and check what the time it is when Saber finish her sentence. So now we see it's 142. And we will run this number up to 150. Okay. By the way, you saw the trigger 1 facing is 1. It means it's player 1. Player 2, the facing is minus 1. And also we need to code for player 2. The player 2 need to hold her animation and not allow the anime to be played. It have to be freezed to a certain range, not reaching the point where she speaks. So we need to change this freeze animation thing. So we will add another trigger for our Saber. So like we see our enemy have this var 19 and the 6th bit set to 1, and our enemy is following a certain standard. For example, this is my standard. I will set my characters by 128 to 1, which is the 8th bit of bar 19. And basically we're saying if the enemy following my standard and my enemy is saying something, so we hold our animation to 191 and always play the very first frame. Then we were not able to speak, because in order to speak we have to advance to animation 191 and element maybe 6 or 5, but we are always change anime back to 191, the first anime, so we are not able to speak. And then we will have to declare our character, which is Saber, also support my standard. Okay, then we go to our system initial state, which is 5900, and paste in this var sets. So basically we set var 19's 8 bits to 1 and declare our Saber is supporting my standard basically. And let's refresh and check.
始めましょう。始めましょう。
Round 1. Fight.
Now you see it's working, but there's also a small problem that when this side is
始め
holding,
ましょう。
the
Round one.
animation
Fight.
stopped totally. So in order to make this smooth, we can form a loop. For example, we can check this animation. So the index number start from 0 to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 to 0. Okay, then we can set a loop. For example, after we encounter this 5th element, which again is 1910, then we can check here whether other side is speaking or not. If other side is speaking, we go back to the first element, then we play through 1 to 5, then check again. If she is speaking, then we go back again, and until she finished her sentence, then we will pass this point and speak our sentence. So I will add one more trigger, which is a trigger or both side, both trigger 1 and trigger 2 have to satisfy. Is at this point anime 191 and element is 5th. Then we check whether that side is speaking or not, or the round is started or not. Then we go back to element 0.
始めましょう。視力を尽くしてくるがいい。
Round 1.
Now it's
Fight.
perfect. Let's try again.
手加減は無用です。始めましょう。
Round 1. Fight.
And we can try against my Miyuki too.
私一人で十分です。視力を尽くしてくるがいい。私一人で十分です。視力を尽くしてくるがいい。
And it works perfectly. And let's do another intro. Basically this one is she is looking for a restaurant and suddenly encounter her enemy. And we will copy all the 191 state and change the 191 to 192. Okay. And replace all. Then we copy back and we will get a new template for 192, which is the second intro. And for this one, same here, but here freeze the animation I don't think is necessary because she is searching the restaurant and she doesn't care. and we will delete this, and she will not say anything first, or she will say something, but it doesn't matter the other side. But this one is mandatory. This one you have to say it is an intro. And here is after 192 finish, you go back to ready to fight, which is stand 0. And here is the animation. She turns her head and looking for at which part to speak. So I say at the 7th element we will speak our sentence. And this sentence is group 4 index 2003. Okay. So we were not using this random, and we'll force for 2003 and save, and I think that's it. And this one is much more easier. And in order to access this 192, basically you need to randomly pick which intro you want. So you go back to 190, which is the pre-intro, and you say 191 plus random mod 2, which will result 191 and then 192. So let's try again.
始めましょう。食ログではこの辺りに。
Round 1. Fight.
食ログではこの辺りに。
Round 1. Fight.
You see, it's clearly the animation is too fast and the voice is lagging behind. So what we can do is make the animation a bit longer. So let's make her turn her heads maybe more rounds, maybe 2 or 3 rounds, maybe. So I'm looking for the element which is 5. So it will be 0 to 5. 0 to 5. I make her turn her heads more rounds. Okay.
食ログではこの辺りに。
Round 1. Fight.
Looks like it's not enough. We add one more. Okay. Or maybe add more. I don't know. I found my problem. I forgot to save. Let's reload.
食ログではこの辺りに。
Round 1.
Now you see it's too long. So let's remove some.
食ログではこの辺りに。
Round 1. Fight.
食ログではこの辺りに。
Round 1. Fight.
Now you see the timing is okay now, but the sword is having problem because we changed the sequence of our master's animation, and the sword animation have to be adapted too. So I copy all the animation of the master of this 192, and I put into Notepad++, which is a tool we can use a vertical edit. And we know the sword is anything plus 10k, so we add 10 in front of all the animation group ID. And we are going back and change our sword animation. Because in the beginning frames there is no sword, so I put -1 and -1. Only from index 12 then we start to having a sword. So from here I will set all the, from this line up it should be all -1, because 1 minus 1 means an empty enemy. Then I copy all the content back to the sword enemy.
食ログではこの辺りに。
Round 1. Fight.
手加減のようです。この辺りに。
Round 1. Fight.
食ログではこの辺りに。
Now it's
Round 1.
perfect.
Fight.
これなら。これなら。
Another thing I want to present to you is how to use this multi-language victory quotes. You see, now I have 2 English, 2 Japanese, and 2 Chinese one. And of course, the Japanese is Google Translated. So you go into your data folder and change this Mugen.cfg. And inside this Mugen.cfg, you see the language setting, which is now current EN. And how to decide this country code? There is a Wikipedia link, and you can check what is your country code. And for me, the Chinese one is ZH. Basically, if I change something here, and the Mugen language will change. It's not necessary it will change the interface, because the interface doesn't have any language yet, but the background setting for language is now changed. Then you can change your code accordingly. And now I didn't change anything, so let's go in and check. And you see we got English victory quotes, but the picture maybe is too much to the left. So I will change a little bit. Then I will change my Mugen.cfg to JA, which is Japanese. And you saw Japanese. And then you change to ZH, which is Chinese. Actually, my Mugen can display this kind of language because I use the Unicode font. Okay, now it's the end of the tutorial, and please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.